That's my goal, is to not
Yeah.
blame others. Yeah.
You're not blaming others and you're not able to even blame the substance, but this is who you are. And you shouldn't apologize for one being sick or for having a bad day. Like, nobody should apologize for that. Like, that's normal. It's part of life. Like, even for me, I lost 2 cats within 2 weeks.
God, you
And
had a shitty couple of weeks. I feel bad for you.
I've had a shitty couple of months.
This is Rock Bottom with Ryan. No sugarcoating, no filters. The pain, the chaos, the truth. No bullshit. Just recovery.
Sober. Strong. Apparel isn't just lifestyle wear, it's battle gear. Heavyweight tees, hoodies, and gear for the ones who draw a hard line. Clean, sober, no compromise. We rep sobriety like a badge of honor, and every piece you throw on says you're part of the crew that doesn't. Back down. Every order fuels recovery, with 10% donated to treatment facilities, because we don't just talk about it, we stand on it. Hit SoberStrongApparel.com and use code ROCKBOTTOM at checkout for 10% off.
Welcome to Rock Bottom with Ryan. Enjoy the show.
Here with my co-host Rachel. We got some
Hi.
good topics to discuss today. We're going into victim mentality in recovery, relapse, all the things intertwined with sobriety as a whole, the victim mentality that we had. That's something we're going to start with talking about, and then it's going to flow into a few other things that I don't think are discussed enough on podcasts or in general. Rachel, would you like to kind of start? And this was definitely a good idea that you came up with to talk about this. So what do we got to say about it?
Let's just start off with how us as addicts always, well, I can't speak for everybody. I could speak for myself, and I know you too. There would always be a victimhood of some sort. Why me? Woe is me. Why is this happening to me? And this could go into any topic. This could go into work. This could go into relationships. This could go into parenting. Like, the list goes on. But I never took accountability. Why doesn't this person want to hang out with me anymore? This or that. No accountability. I was always the victim when I was using.
Yep. Same here. I always, at first, when I started drinking, I blamed it on the fact that I thought my stepmother at the time and my dad tried to keep me too sheltered. So I thought of it as an excuse. Well, I'm going to college. I'm going to let loose, because I thought, even though I got in trouble a lot in high school, I didn't drink much or do anything. So
Yeah.
I figured when I went to college, I'm like, you're letting a freaking monster out of its cage, basically. And I went balls to the wall and basically used that as an excuse. I mean, a big thing about victim mentality is excuses. And I used my high school lifestyle as having good grades, being in sports, as an excuse to finally live it up a little. And that was how I first started. But it evolved into things where I just started blaming everything and everyone. Like, depending on what situation I was in, it was definitely their fault. Because if I was in a relationship with you and you caused me stress and I went out to the bar and drank and did cocaine, it was your fault. Did you ever have that kind
Yeah,
of
you
problem?
did it. You made me do that.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
you
we
made me
made
do that, and
ourselves do
I
it,
would
though.
never say it. We made
Yeah.
ourselves do it, and I would never say anything. I would never tell people it's their fault, but in my head, I would be thinking, "There's a reason I'm doing this, and it's not my fault."
Oh, yeah. If it was a relationship-based thing, like, wow, if he didn't do this to me or if he didn't say this to me, like, I wouldn't feel the need to have to drink this wine. Like, I wouldn't have to go out with my girls and have a girls' night and go get hammered and blackout because, he shouldn't have treated me like that. In reality,
Exactly.
no, girl, you put yourself in that situation and get out of it so you don't have to drink or feel like you need to drink. And for me, I could go all the way back to victimhood with my mother. For the listeners who don't know, my mom passed away of an overdose. So I took that and ran with that when I was 17. I was young. I was upset. I didn't know how to cope properly. Nobody helped me through that. My coping mechanism was using and numbing. But that was my victimhood, where I would just be like, my mom is dead. I'm 16, 17 years old. My life is just fucked. I don't have a mom. So there you go. I was just like, you know what? Like, why not? I'm a victim here, right? Like, so
Oh
that's
yeah,
what started it for me.
yeah, like I blamed parents, but for different reasons. Like I blamed my mother, although she was an active mother and I was close with her, I did blame the fact that, like, well, I spent my entire childhood watching her drink her ass to death, basically. She's still here. She's sober now, and I
Thank
love her to
God.
death. Never had a problem with her, but she's like my best friend. So I shout out to my mother. And but I always thought, I just witnessed so much drinking from her growing up. I watched her drink in the morning. I watched her pound wine at night until she could hardly hold a conversation. So I was like, all right, well, I can be like that too and still have a job just like she did and still, get shit done. But I still like use that as an excuse. And I said, the poor me, I had a crappy childhood. I had a mom who was drinking all the time, even though she still treated me well. But I mean, I'm sure if she was sober, it would have been a little bit better, maybe, but decision making wise. But my dad, I just felt like he put so much pressure on me growing up to be somebody that maybe I didn't think I was capable of being. I think now I'm
Uh-huh.
realizing I am capable of being some of those things. It's just I was my own worst enemy, but I didn't know that at the time. So I was like easy for me to point the blame at him and say, oh, well, he was just too hard on me. He could have let me develop as opposed to pushing me into things I didn't want to or something like that. So just
Yeah, I
became
would
a big
use.
cycle of excuses.
Yeah, so to you, it sounds like it would be like a victim mentality more so you felt pressure of, trying to make your parents happy. And
Yeah.
for me, I was just like, oh, they're not around. So fuck that. The world hates me. So I'm a victim. Like, woe is me. Woe is this. And then it trickled into, I had a son at the age of 20, his father leaving me, then again, playing the victim. And
Yep.
how could you leave me after 7.5 years? You were with me when my mother passed away and we had a child together. Excuse me. Like, if you really think about it now with a clear head, he couldn't do it anymore. I was putting him through absolute hell. I was abusive to him. So I was not the victim. He was the real victim.
Yep, I know. That's the thing. We are victimizing other people in a lot of the sense. I mean, I know some of the relationships I was in during my drinking period. I think it went both ways in a lot of way, but at the time, I don't think I took as much like accountability as I should have, which we'll get into later. But did you ever have like that issue where you saw other people that looked like their lives were going well, but they still had that victim mentality? And you're kind of like, why the fuck are you bitching? Like, you got a house, cars, you got family and stuff. But like in reality, everybody could have something personal going on. And I would basically minimize other people's victim mentalities, thinking my problems were worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all the time I would be like, you grew up with a whole, you had both of your parents in your house and you had a home growing up. Like, I didn't. I bounced from home to home and my parents were divorced. So fuck you. Like, I was angry at the world. And
Yeah,
deep down, it was really me hurt, and that's jealousy, upset because I didn't have what they had. And
exactly.
that's 100% victim mentality. And that could even go for, I'm in my mid-30s, and before I got proposed to, like, everybody around me was getting married, everybody was getting a ring. I was still in active addiction, and I'm over here like, wow, woe is me, crying, going to, my fiance now and saying, we've been together almost 8 years and you haven't even gotten me a ring. Like, you must not love me. You must not want to marry me, playing the victim. But really,
Yep.
he was just waiting for the right time to do it. He believed in me and he waited
Yeah.
until a year of sobriety. And after a year of sobriety, he popped the question. So
So you think
he
that was
did
like your
know.
selfish side?
That was,
Like your selfish
I
side
didn't
being like,
realize
why
it.
I'm not getting what I want when I want.
Yeah, and I'm seeing everybody, getting engaged and having these weddings and having babies, and I'm just like, why isn't it happening to me? Like, it's not happening to you because, one, you can't hold a job. Two, your fiance is coming home after working 10, 11 hours a day as a mechanic to the house, trashed with no food because you're passed out drunk. What person or man would want to come home to that every day and put a ring on?
Exactly. And like, yeah, if he saw you at your worst, he's waiting for you to show consistency at your best, you know? And it's probably smart of him to wait that long and give you a chance. I mean, you kind of feel like you owed it to him, right? After a while.
Yeah, well, that was the breaking point of my rock bottom part of it when he was about to leave me, which would have been the second serious relationship of mine that I would have lost due to drinking, and I was just not about to have it. But then as I got sober, and he stayed with me for almost the not the whole year of my sobriety, but a good chunk of it. I felt like I owed it to him. Like I have to, everything he says I have to do and this and that. And that's not the case. He stuck by me because he wanted to stick by me and he loves me. And that's how it should be. Nobody should expect anything in return.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there who feel like, they've been there for somebody who's like, hit their rock bottoms and stuff. But like some people will be there and will be patient with you. Some won't. It's like, I don't know. I haven't experienced like it that much, but I do know there's even friends and stuff and relationships I've tried to kind of remend since I got sober. And I can tell it's going to take more time or they just aren't going to forgive. And those are just kind of resentments that you can't really get rid of. But it's like part of
Yeah.
being sober is just like working on yourself and trying to like not blame anybody. It's all about taking accountability. Like I try to look back at all the people I used to bitch at and say like, you guys had such great lives, you grew up with this rich ass family, a big ass house, your parents were
Yeah.
together. And then I hear like their background story and they'll say like, yeah, my parents were together. We had a big house, but they traveled 24/7. We were had to fend for ourselves and they just paid for food from Costco and we just had to heat up
Yeah.
pizza every night. I didn't have any like relationship with them. I'm like, oh, see, I only saw things on the outside, but not behind the curtains. And that's like
Right.
how it is for, yeah. So it's kind of crazy once you get to know people and know that
Yeah.
everybody's got shit going on, and it makes you look at your own poor me attitude and be like, maybe it's not that bad.
Yeah. It took me into sobriety for me to look at things like that and be like, oh, it's not so bad. I mean, I went a long time with always just like, well, screw you. You had that. You grew up with money. Like I grew up very, I don't want to say poor, but not well off. And a lot of things to keep me feeling secure, like food in the home or even just turning on the lights or not getting evicted, that was something I struggled with my whole life. So yeah, I would look at other people and be like, wow, like you literally have a home to go to and you're bitching about it. And I would drink
Yep.
about that. I would drink about it when I got older. I would just sit in my own room and just be like, huh, fuck you guys. Like, and who am I showing? Really?
Yeah. Just sit in our own misery, and then we're just like, by drinking, we're just making it worse. So we're not really like dealing with it. And then we wake up the next day,
Right.
feel like crap, and then we're more depressed about ourselves. And then we're still comparing our lives to other people, which is the worst thing to do when you're in the dumps already. And I hated
Yeah.
doing that, like comparing
Yeah.
myself to others who are more successful. And the reality is, some people can drink and have fun and still have a good life. And I've talked to some of those people, and they said, yeah, they're content because alcohol hasn't controlled their life. But it pisses me off that it controlled mine so much that I couldn't be a normal drinker. So I would always have this like, this pissy attitude because I couldn't be like them.
I thought the same. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I'm going on a year and a half on Saturday, and sometimes I'm just like, because I was a wine and champagne drinker, that was like something I did enjoy. I would say more times out of none I got drunk off of it, not for the taste or for the ambiance. But now I would love to sit down and have a romantic evening. My wedding's coming up in April and I can't do the champagne toast. And it's not that I wanna be drunk, it's just what comes with it, and I do romanticize it a little bit, and I'm not feeling like a victim, I'm proud because it will be on my 2 year of sobriety when I get married, and I'll be hosting
Yep.
alcohol at that, but I won't be
That's
able to be doing the
perfect.
champagne toast, I could do the NA alcohol, but I can't, right. If I want to do that, but it's not necessary, but it's not victimhood per se what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm maybe a little jealous that there are brides out there that could just have a fun wedding and have some drinks and have a great night and go to the hotel after and have a great night with their new husband and just remember it kind of and just have a great night. For me, I would ruin my whole entire fucking wedding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can have that negative attitude towards it, but it sounds like you're gonna go into it understanding and positive. But like, if you think about it, I mean, just the other day I interviewed the Dry Oak, and they showed me a tour of their store, which is on the episode about them, and all their stuff is bottled like it was like like you're busting out some like champagne or busting out like a
Yes,
bottle of liquor. Like you can still
I've seen
have some fun, relax, and feel like you're a part of that crowd if you want to. So there are options. I don't know if
100%.
that stuff. I'm gonna order some stuff from them. Shout out to Dry Oak. You guys are awesome, and they really want to be on the show with you. So we'll do another episode with them. But there are options to like still have fun. So it's like as much as I say, yeah, I can go out, but everybody gets to drink and I don't. But I mean, I don't mind sipping a sparkling water or something. That's what I
Yeah,
have to do. I
yeah.
have no choice anymore.
I mean, I'm gonna have a whole mocktail. I'm having 2 bars at my wedding. I'm gonna have like an actual bar, and I'm having a mocktail bar, and I made a mocktail menu. And
You
I'm
should
a
have a little
big Shirley.
AA meeting there.
Yeah, we could do a little AA in the back. No, but I drink Shirley Temples. I like a good Shirley Temple, so that's on there. And I'm gonna anybody who knows me, I love Betty Boop. She's right here. But Betty Boop, I
Yep,
have a mocktail named after Betty Boop for me,
that's
and it's
awesome.
gonna be really cute. I mean, but I want to circle back to the victim mentality because this is something big I did with jobs. I could not hold a job for the life of me. And every time I got fired, what did I do? Cry. Woe is me. Oh my God. Why was I fired? Girl, you left. You made up a massive lie to leave at 10. All these jobs. This is over 20 jobs. And what, to go to the gas station to buy cheap ass shit that you couldn't even afford anyway and get drunk and then ruin your home life and then you lost that job. And I never took accountability. I was always just like, no, they didn't like me. They didn't like me. They didn't like me. Or I must have messed up on something. Like, no, it was because you
Yeah.
left early at a new job.
Yeah,
Or you
I
kept
had a
calling
job
out.
for 5 years where I was drinking sometimes before work, sometimes leisurely on my lunch break, but I was getting so much flack about how I was forgetting things all the time, and like everybody gave me shit about it. And I was just like, why is everybody else riding my ass at work? This is bullshit. But it's like in reality, I wasn't really fully present half the time. So why can I blame them? And then I'd start getting write-ups, and I never got fired from that job. I have been fired because of my drinking from quite a few jobs. One that I just accepted the fact that they fired me because I knew exactly what I did wrong. I drove the company truck to a bar, and they tracked it where it was
God.
going. And yeah, and I was stupid, and I drove it, only a couple blocks to get to where my place was or whatever. But like, still horrible decision. Don't drive a company truck at 2 a.m. But at the same time, I was kind of pissed because it was like I had been so great at this job for the time I was there, but then I get fired. This is bullshit. But I was like, hell no, I'd fire anybody on the spot if they were doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely. And I mean, I was leaving work constantly, like constantly leaving work or calling out to drink or because I was hungover and I had anxiety. It wasn't anxiety, it was hangxiety. And to feel better, I would need to drink. So yeah, by 10 a.m., 10 a.m., I was drinking until almost 1 a.m. the night before. It's still in my system. So I'm going through a real withdrawal. I didn't know that at the time. I thought it was just anxiety. So I would make up a massive, like serious lies that I don't even want to repeat. And just to get out of work because I thought they would just like feel bad for me and let me keep my job. That was my mentality at the time.
yeah,
No. And then I would leave and get drunk, and then I would get a text message the next day, hey, don't come in. I wouldn't even get fired formally. I would last maybe not even a week at most of these jobs. So I went
yeah,
a good 2 or 3 jobs before I stopped drinking with the woe is me mentality. Why can't I hold a
yeah.
job? I know I
Did
can't
you
hold a
ever?
job.
Did you ever kind of carry that attitude into like for me, like not only was it jobs, but it was like how I treated friends and stuff, my reliability, my consistency, like my ability to be on time, respond to people and stuff. I still have problems with that, as you know. Don't call me out on the show, please. No, but like people would just like all of a sudden I wouldn't talk to somebody for a few days because I'd been drinking, and then all of a sudden they send me this long message talking about, hey, you're not kind of a shitty friend, and I would just be like, fuck you. That's I don't deserve that, but at the same time I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm not that good of a friend right now because I'm priority is alcohol.
Well, for me, I didn't, excuse me, I have a little cough. For me, it was never isolation. It was always, I would turn into, my alter ego, Ratchet Rachel usually,
Ratchet Rachel. That was my next question. How does Ratchet Rachel go with the victim
victim.
mentality?
She would do something or say something really horrific to somebody the night before. And then I would wake up to a massive text message from somebody that I loved saying, like, fuck you. I can't believe you would say
Yeah.
or do this. And I had no recollection of doing it. So then the next morning I would call them crying my eyes out. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry today. Nobody would pick up the phone sometimes. These are people that are not in my life anymore. I've tried to make amends with. That's my part of our friendship ending. But
Yeah.
that was the victimhood the next morning. But I was blackout. I didn't remember. And I also took my Xanax, which I have an anxiety disorder. So I took Xanax and I also finished off 2 bottles of wine. I'm sorry. Like, and that to me, in my mind, I would think like, okay, they're going to understand. They're going to be like, oh, okay, she blacked out. Let's move forward. Like after a while, they were like, I'm tired of this, man. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of you talking to me like this. I'm tired of you causing chaos. Like Ratchet Rachel was really a disgusting person. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a victimhood that I
Yeah.
played for a while. Like I would wake up very, very upset the next day, not remembering what I would do and just blame it on blacking out.
Yep. Everyday RPK, kind of my alter ego. It's kind of the same thing. But when I was at my worst, I would drink and isolate, and I would start just gradually tapering off the face of the earth, and nobody would hear from me. And then the more I would do that, the more people would start calling me out. So all of a sudden, it's like I'm moving away, and people are all of a sudden getting sick of me doing this. And the longer and more years I started doing this, the more pissed off people would be, and that meant I would get defensive, and that would mean the less accountability I would take. So I would get
Right.
defensive and be like, well, you've done this before, or well, you've done this before, or like, give me a fucking break, man, I'm in a bad place right now, and it's like
Yeah.
that shit still doesn't give us an excuse to treat people like shit. Like if Ratchet Rachel was pissed off at somebody for a valid reason that night, and maybe the truth came out when you were drinking and Ratchet Rachel said it, maybe you felt those feelings, it just came out the wrong way and you didn't communicate it right.
Correct. But at the same time, in Ratchet Rachel's defense, which this is crazy to even say, but in her defense, she was really hanging out with people who were doing the same things with her. But when she would come out, they didn't want to deal with her, if you get what I'm saying.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
was kind of like, I loved those people. They played a huge part in my life, but you guys were enabling me too. Like you were doing it too. Like, so you knew I got like that. Why were you drinking with me? I mean, it turned out they stopped drinking with me. And there are, 2 or 3 people that are still around that know Ratchet Rachel very, very well still. And it scares them when I talk about it. But like brings up bad memories, like not funny. And they're still around, but the truth did come out with Ratchet Rachel. She was a very angry. Rachel is still working on her anger. So Ratchet Rachel never took accountability for any of that. She just used that as her victimhood. Like, I had a bad childhood. My mom, overdosed. My son's father left me. I'm a single mother. Woe is me, this, that. No, that's not a reason to treat people like shit, ever.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. I think it does, that attitude still, even in recovery, like it still carries into it. Kind of like you mentioned earlier, like you're kind of like, why didn't my fiance propose sooner? Or, oh, I'm not going to be able to drink at the wedding. Or me, I was pissed off about something I did completely wrong the other day that like hurt somebody as well, and it was my fault, and I still was trying to figure out reasons in my head to justify it, and I was just kind of like, you know what, this is bad. I got to take accountability and own it and be like, I actually screwed up on this. But if I were drinking back in the day, I would have either just let that kill a relationship or a friendship or any whatever it was. I would let it just taper off or something. No, like even in this podcast, I feel like I screw up sometimes, and you catch me apologizing to you, and you're always saying, don't apologize. Don't be sorry about shit, Ryan. Like it's a big deal. Cause I like when I was sick, I've like felt so guilty, or
Yeah.
like when I'm not responsive to the text messages and stuff nowadays, I feel bad because it's like I'm sober. I should still be like on top of shit, but I'm so scatterbrained sometimes that I forget. But I have to understand I can't say woe is me and be like, that's a poor me attitude. It's more like, this is how I am. I can apologize to people when I'm actually sorry, and at least
Yeah.
not blame others. That's my goal, is to not
Yeah.
blame others. Yeah.
You're not blaming others and you're not able to even blame the substance. But this is who you are. And you shouldn't apologize for one being sick or for having a bad day. Like, nobody should apologize for that. Like, that's normal. It's part of life. Like, even for me, I lost 2 cats within 2 weeks.
God, you
And
had a shitty couple of weeks. I feel bad for you.
I've had a shitty couple of months. I
Yeah.
did get proposed to in the meantime, which was great.
That's a good
But
news. That's a positive.
yes. I mean, I'm still planning a wedding. But yeah, the past 2 weeks though, that has been such a big challenge. And I could even, say the victimhood of like, wow, like if I didn't let this person watch my cat, this wouldn't have happened. Or if I would have taken Jasmine to the vet a little bit more often, which I took her to the vet a lot, maybe they would have found this lung condition that happened so quick and this wouldn't have all happened so fast. But no, that's not true. It all happened and aligned the way it was supposed to happen. Unfortunately, they're both not here within a 2-week span. And that sucks.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Losing pets is tough. Losing 2 in 2 weeks that's tough. I'm so sorry. But you
It
have
is what
handled
it
it
is.
like a G, though, like a complete G, because you haven't blamed anybody. You haven't said poor me. Yeah, you've been sad, but you're
Yeah.
allowed to be sad. Like, just because we're
Yeah.
sad doesn't mean it's woe is me, We're
No.
allowed to be sad and depressed about things. We just can't try to justify bad actions. Like you didn't resort to alcohol. You didn't resort to bitching at John. You didn't resort,
No.
well, as far as I know, but you didn't like
No.
do anything bad that you have to like, own. So like
Yeah.
that's how you handle it.
No. And to me, and I've said this before, that when something bad happens in my life now in sobriety, I take the bull by the horns. I say, what is that saying? Because I really live by it almost. Why can't I remember it? Why me? Why me? Try me. Life, try me. What is that saying? Do you know that saying?
I don't know. It reminds me of a Tupac quote, but it goes,
Right.
real lies, realize.
Well, that too. Well, that's me as fuck. But
Real eyes,
basically
realize, real lies.
me as fuck.
Think,
But
yep.
basically, I'm trying to say that I look at life and I get knocked down and I'll get right back up and say, you hit like a bitch. You hit like a bitch, because I'm still standing and I've gone through so much, and there's no reason to go use. I don't want to use. That's not it. I want to keep leveling up.
Exactly. Like the other day, the whole first part of that day, I think I texted you. I was having a rough morning, rough
Yeah.
day. I couldn't talk to anybody. I was like shaking in my meeting and stuff. I just had so overwhelmed. I wanted to close off. And I kept thinking about first part of the day was poor me, poor me. And the second part of the day was like, that's all you got, motherfucker. Bring it. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
literally like
I
you hit
just,
you hit like a bitch. That's how
yep.
I see it. Like, keep trying me. Keep, like, what's up? Like, I'm going to keep standing up, and I don't need a substance to feel better. Like, I'm going to go through this sober no matter what. If I have to go to the gym, that's fine. If I have to cry, that's fine. If I have to scream, that's fine. But I'm going to
Yeah. But,
still live my life. I'm still going to grow. I'm still going to be a mom. That's it. Like, because alcohol will literally ruin all of that.
Exactly. You got to think of like the video I posted recently about just replaying the tapes. I'm like, okay, well, if I drink, I already know what the outcome's going to be. I'm not going to just have one. I'm going to be gone for a month and I'm going to lose everything I've worked hard for. I probably won't do this podcast. I'll probably lose you as a friend, probably lose these people. I just fuck everything up. I would lose everything.
You want to lose
Just
me
like
as a
that,
friend.
though. And I
No,
appreciate
look,
that, but
look,
I
it ain't worth it. Rewinding the tape, like you said, 100%. If you have to sit there for 10, 15, 20 minutes, even an hour, and just sit back and be like, okay, let's go back to the week prior to me getting sober. What led up to
yep,
me deciding to make this decision? And just replay
yep,
it over and over again, even if it makes you upset. Like, just remember
exactly.
where you were mentally at that very moment in that rehab. Like, how did you freaking feel? Like, do you want to go through that again?
Exactly. Like, it's tough because you don't want to relive it, but you do got to remind yourself of where you were. So it's a
Oh, yeah.
completely separate deals, but you can't forget where you came from, or else it's going to sound like it's no big deal. Like I was talking with Jimmy about today. He was just saying, like, I could go out and I could drink, but like, I know what's going to happen and I'm going to fuck my life up again. And it's not going to be, I don't have his cool accent. I wish I did, but
He's Scottish, and so is my family. So I was like, I have to talk to you.
yeah, but it's
Yeah,
so
no,
true. Replay
it
the
it
tapes,
is.
but you don't have to relive it every day. But when it's necessary, replay that shit.
Man, for me, I mean, like I said, to me, I haven't thought of like even doing that, like drinking again. But if I were to replay my tape, back to that moment, even in, the field where I threw my last hurrah, where I threw my Pinot Grigio bottle, and that moment
Yeah,
sucked. I don't even know why I thought that was even going to be a good idea. So replaying the tape, like, okay, I drove 45 minutes out of the way to a doctor's office blackout, and they had to call my dad to come pick me up in my keys, and my dad refused to get me, and then I drove back, and then I looked at my bank statements and I stopped at a bar on the way home. So I'm replaying the tape out loud right now. I don't want to do that again. Really
yep,
don't.
exactly. So is there like a specific moment you think of before to humble yourself before you would make a bad decision? Is there like something specific that comes to your mind where you're like, okay, I got to think of that. Now I know I won't drink.
Well,
Is
I
it something?
I always think of my son. The first thing, and this will go into anger because like I said, I still work on that. Not that I go beat the shit out of people still. Like that doesn't happen anymore. But anger, like there's been an incident, not very recently, but maybe within the past 6 months, somebody cut us off, but it was like a really bad cutoff and almost started a really bad accident. John was with me, my fiance. The very first thing I literally did, good thing the door was locked, was I went to go open the door and kick it open. There was no reason to do that at all. But I felt like kicking the door open, the front door, and like going straight up to the woman's face. I wasn't the one driving either. The door was locked. I
Yes.
couldn't get out. And then John was like, "Whoa." And he said to me, he was like, babe, like you need to breathe. He didn't call me Ratchet Rachel, but he literally was like, you need to breathe. There was no reason for that. And if I were drunk when I were to have done that, I would have crawled and gotten out of the back seat. I would have got to that woman. So yeah. So I'm working on my anger, but the first thing that I do is I think of my son, because if I were to have gotten out of that car, one, I don't know what that woman's capable of doing. First off, I don't know if she has a weapon. But two, my son, I can't get arrested. Like I'm a mother. So that's the very first thing. But again, I also replay the tape as I don't want to feel like shit again. I don't want to go through withdrawals. I don't want to lose the job I have, the life I have. I don't want to do that. But first thing that comes to my mind is my child.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, first thing that I think of, I mean, I don't have any children or I have my
Hmm.
dog who I love to death, but like I
Of
always
course.
just think about basically myself in a hospital again and how sick I got of being in hospitals. So I always just envision this is where I always end up, hospital or jail. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, sure, I could drink functionally maybe for like a week or two and maybe hide it pretty well. but I know I'm not going to be able to stop, and it'll just escalate into being worse. So
Right.
it's just not worth it.
It's
So for
really
me,
not.
it's just thinking of, yeah, I was thinking of the outcome of my last relapse as an easy reminder that I don't need it. So like, what do you do in situations like you lost 2 cats in 2 weeks? That was tough. And I talked to you during that, if you don't mind me sharing on the podcast, but
Oh, go ahead.
I could tell in some points where you sounded like you weren't mentally there. So like in those moments where you were like kind of zombie-like and really sad and depressed, I felt so bad for you. How were you processing it, or were you just numbing yourself in your own way without alcohol, of course? But like, how are you handling that?
So, and this
Because
has
that's
been
something
brought
you
up
couldn't
in
control.
therapy. It's been
Yeah.
brought up in therapy. So when moments like that happen, it's actually me just disassociating. I'm
Yeah,
very
that's
big on disassociating, which is something that's not a healthy thing to do. I don't recommend that to anybody, but that is something I do. I will disassociate. Like, I will just block it out. It didn't happen and let's move on. I mean, it did happen, but I'm not processing it. And I
so
used to numb. Now, these are things we have to still feel. You can't just act like it didn't happen.
exactly. Like when you're done disassociating during those like tough moments. I mean, your cat's passed away. It was just back to back to back to back shit happening for like a month, and you disassociated. Was it like like when you came back to reality and started associating again? Did it like feel kind of like you just got done on a bender kind of thing? Was it like your mind finally had to like face full force everything, or did it actually help you disassociating?
So it was different with both situations because a Boo we thought went missing but was harmed. And I recently got closure. I'm into mediums and psychics and stuff like that. And I got my closure. A Boo has passed on. So the sitter that was watching my cat harmed him. I just don't have proof of that, so I can't do legal action. So it's not full closure because I didn't get to lay him to rest. Now, Jasmine was my 14-year-old cat. And I had her before Gabriel, my son, and having to put her down so last minute out of nowhere. Like, I really thought she was just having asthma attacks. I didn't expect to hear that kind of news when I brought her to the emergency room that her lungs are filling with fluid. I disassociated very hard at that very moment, actually, to the point that I stopped talking. I got very quiet. And then I went into tunnel vision where I just signed the papers and I got help paying for what I had to pay for because that shit's expensive. And then when I left, I straight up, and this is not like me, and I've told you I haven't been able to do this. This did it to me. Walking out of that room after we put her down, I collapsed to the floor in front of like 4 different receptionists. Like, I was at the animal hospital. I collapsed to the point that John could barely pick me up. I was screaming Jasmine. I was just crying. I was yelling, my baby, my baby, my baby. Because mind you, 14 years with a cat, she was with me my whole addiction
Yeah.
and sobriety, and becoming a
Mm-hmm.
mother. So,
Yeah.
it was really hard. So that was more of like, I don't know, it was a lot of shock and what ifs but now I have 2 babies. They're 5-week-old, but boys. I got not humans, kittens, and they're kind of helping me. They're kind of helping. They're never going to replace a Boo or Jasmine. They never will. But it's time to just be happy. Cats bring me peace. But what I came to after being in a daze and after crying, that's when beast mode always kicks in. I tunnel vision. I'm like, okay, you cried for a day. You had your little break. Time to get to work.
Yep. Well, that's good. I mean, like I was concerned about you and how you're processing it because I wasn't sure. Because when I'm in those like disassociative modes, I don't do that very often. I mean, I did the other day for a few hours, but it sounded like you were just going through it because it was like back to back shit over the course of weeks. So I was like, whoa, if one more thing happens, is she gonna like explode? Like I was just wondering, like, is Ratchet Rachel
Yeah.
gonna come out sober? It's like,
Oh God. I mean, I had moments, like I said, I mean, I did get angry. I'm still angry at the person who watched a boo. I mean, I have no closure on this. And so I would do anything to get closure, full closure, not just one from a medium. I mean, really no, but what's the point, you know? But
Yeah.
no, there's no time to go backwards. I allowed myself to grieve. I'm still grieving. I allow myself to grieve, but I'm not going to allow anything. And God knows what's next. I mean, that's my mentality too. I mean, I've gone through so much grief in my life. That's mainly what caused my addiction. But I will not allow anything to slow me down. Nothing.
Yeah, I think that's
And
the best mentality is like
yeah,
something you just said is the best way that I've been thinking how I've gone through things is like stuff that's out of our control, you know, like it's already happened. We can't go back. We can't change it. We can't bring Abu back. We can't do this. Like it's happened. Of course, we're frustrated, but it's like we got to look at it as like we had no control over that. We have to move forward and use it to go get stronger. But it can affect us. But we still have to realize we had no
yes.
control.
We had no control. We had no control. I had no control over what was gonna happen to Jasmine. That was she was 14 years old. I gave her a very beautiful life. I broke it to my son yesterday. He cried because she was there on my belly while I was pregnant with him. So, Jasmine was
Gosh.
around for Gabriel. But you know what? I do have to say I'm not trying to toot my own horn, and this has been told to me by over 10 people, you being one of them, that they are so inspired by me and I'm so strong because I've gone through so much in my sobriety, not just this past month, but a lot of other stuff has happened in my year and a half. But I have tunnel vision. I'm a strong ass bitch. I am a very strong person. I really want my life to go beautifully because it went so bad for 17 years and not in a victim way. I did that to myself.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Exactly.
there's no going back. Plus, I promised my mother-in-law on her deathbed that I would never drink again, and I'm keeping that promise.
Yep. Keeping that promise. And I just think that, 17 years, like you said, that's about as long as I was partying hard too, 17, 18 years and stuff. And it's like, do you ever kind of look back at all the stuff that we said, poor me and had that victim mentality? I mean, are you finding yourself trying to make up for a lot of it now on how you react to situations? Do you feel like you're making up for it?
And the victim mentality or just life?
Just life, like just do you start like in your recovery and sobriety, are you like just owning shit because you knew you didn't used to do that?
Yeah, I think that might actually be why I add so much to my plate because I wasn't doing so much with my life prior that now in my year and a half of sobriety, I mean, I could go there, I could keep, I mean, I don't want to brag about myself. It's just like I could keep going down the list of beautiful things that have happened to me since I got sober. And it would not have
List
happened.
them.
List
Let's hear
them.
them.
Not only did I get sober, I lost 75, 80 pounds. I got proposed to. I've been at my job going on a year and a half. I never held a job that long, ever. I'm on a podcast. I'm a co-host of a podcast.
Yep.
I'm going to be moving. I have a huge wedding that I'm able to pay for and plan on my own. I never thought that was going to happen. I went through grief in sobriety, even though that wasn't beautiful. I was present. Shit. My relationships with a lot of people got better. Family and friends,
Awesome.
including my sister. We're not the best of friends, but before this, there was no hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Now
I
you
mean,
can
there's so
actually
much
get
more.
along, coexist. Yeah.
And what about you, other than the podcast, though? Other than the podcast, what has gone right for you in your sobriety?
Honestly, my mind state, how I look at myself mentally, my mental improvements. I mean, the depression and anxiety that I used to suffer from that I was able to mask with alcohol was crippling sometimes. And nobody knew it. Nobody knew how bad it really was because I was so good at faking it. But I was so much more miserable than I put on. So as soon as I got into recovery, that was the thing that if I was ever going to stop drinking forever or get sober for a long period of time, if it change myself, I had to learn to love myself for who I am and accept all the things that have happened in the past, knowing I can't go back and change them, but I can correct who I'm doing now. So my biggest like rewards, I think, so far have just been like finding my good qualities and actually embracing them, and learning that people do like me for me, and I don't have to drink to get people to like me, or to be entertaining, or to be funny, and to have a good time. And it's just like feeling comfortable in my own skin has been 100% the best reward, because it's opened so many more avenues to like be more open on social media, be open to talking to strangers, tell my story to people that don't even know me. And like all those things are possible only because I finally got in the right place mentally for the first time. I mean, I used to jog and run 5 miles a day, work out, stay in shape, and drink after that, and like had a job and all that. I had a lot of things that made me look like I was okay on the outside, but I was always miserable, anxious wreck on the inside. And I haven't been fighting that battle. Probably 2-3 months into recovery, into sobriety, I stopped fighting that battle, and I finally just things don't phase me like they used to. And it's such a rewarding feeling. Like when I have a bad day the other day, it wasn't, I would say it was kind of crippling, but I know for a fact, had it been a year and a half ago, I would have been down into a very bad place. So I think my
I'm
mind
proud of
state
you.
is my best reward, because my good
Good.
mind state has led to so many good relationships, friendships, met you, this podcast, just waking up every day, like actually being more proud of myself than disappointed in what I did the night before.
Yeah, oh God. Like I said, I never want to feel that again. The what did I do the night before? Or go through my phone and be
Yeah.
like, who the fuck did I curse out? But
Yeah.
I'm beyond proud of you, and I could relate so much when it comes to loving myself now because, yeah, sure, okay, I will say the 75, 80 pound weight loss obviously made me like, okay, I'm sexy. You're very small. Did not know that. I haven't been this small since I was a freshman in high school. So,
It's awesome.
and yeah,
And you work
and
out
I,
like a motherfucker. You didn't cheat your way
yeah,
to get there. You work
no.
out every day. I've seen the videos. It's like you're killing it.
I love working out. I love working out. It's my other than cats, that's my I would say working out is my anger release. That's what I do when I'm feeling a little frustrated. If I could go do a good arm day, I leave there and I feel so
Yeah.
much better. I really do.
That's
And
the
that's
thing.
because I'm lifting.
I think, yeah, and I think you're inspiring the fact that you share that with everybody, not just the weight loss, but the gym and all that. You're inspiring people not only like in recovery, but you're inspiring people that have had issues with weight and who have had issues with anger and stuff. Like you're fighting all these battles at once and using like all of it to become better physically and mentally. And I think
Yes,
everybody
thank
needs to
you.
see that, because not only getting sober does that help you, but also taking care of yourself. You can get your weight to where you want it, like live a healthy lifestyle too, and deal with anger. Like that's pretty cool.
It deals with anger. For me, it's just, working out is just something I love to do. I love to do that, not just I'm past the whole weight loss thing. I lost all the weight that I wanted to lose. Now I'm doing it because it's part of what I love to do. It's part of my daily routine. I'm very big on routine too. That keeps me sane. I just would never wanna go back to any of the bullshit that I was doing a year and a half ago on Saturday, a year and a half, and I'm not in shock that I made it this far, but I'm in shock, if that makes any sense. I'm in shock at how beautiful
No,
of a
no.
person I've turned into. I do love myself so
Yeah,
much, like, it's
that's
very
such a good
sad.
feeling.
It's a good feeling. It's just when we both put ourselves back in that spot of how much we didn't love ourselves, it makes me a little bit teary-eyed, a little bit sad because it's almost like an
It makes me
outer
emotional too.
body. Yeah, it's like out of body experience of like looking at myself laying in a bed with a wine bottle empty next to my bed, 2 wine bottles, and I
Yeah.
would just be there with my cats who were supporting me, and I was just knocked the hell out, and I'm
Yep.
just looking at her right now in my mind, and I'm just like, "Girl, get up,
And
go
then to
take
hear you
care of
say,
yourself."
and then to hear you say you love yourself, and to hear me say that for the first time in my life, I love myself. I mean, it's like two broken people were able to get sober and not only just stop drinking, which is only a percent of the battle, is to actually change everything, work on ourselves and stuff. And like you did, and like I've been doing, it's like it takes so much more than quitting drinking. And You know, we love ourselves now, and that's not even to sound arrogant or egotistical. It's just knowing that you actually love who you're becoming, and that's something everybody should feel. You know, I want everybody in recovery to feel that.
Yeah, everybody should love themselves because if you're not able to love yourself, you're not able to give love to anybody else.
Yeah. And it just like you, it makes me emotional sometimes when I'm talking about the fact that I love myself because I remember how badly I hated who I was for so many reasons. And I'm like, you know, I didn't care if I died. That's how little I liked myself. And then it's amazing what a little over a year can do. And as you know, a year and a half and 2 days, you know, coming up, it's amazing the changes it makes. I mean, it takes some people longer than others, but like the end goal is there. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Just got to keep
There
pushing.
really is. There really is. And like I would look in the mirror and this goes back to the weight. I would be, I also suffer from rosacea and I'm taking care of it now, but wow, who would have thunk it? Like alcohol flares up rosacea. So my face was all red and dry, and I'm like, oh, I have skin issues. Oh, I have an anxiety disorder. Oh, I'm just eating too much fast food. I'm overweight. I'm not working out a lot. No, it was all alcohol. And I used to, as a woman who had a child, I would look in the mirror naked and I would cry, and then I would go drink.
Yep.
But I would
Yep.
cry and I would be like, "I hate my body. No man other than John will ever think I'm hot, or does John even think I'm hot?" Like, I didn't think I was beautiful. Now I look at myself and I'm like, "Damn." Like, straight up.
I know. I've met you in Florida. You walk with like pure confidence, and you would never have guessed that like a few years ago that you wouldn't have liked who you saw in the mirror. You know, so it's like so good to see that transformation of self love. You know,
Yes, and I do
and it
speak out. I do wanna say I'm speaking out for the women and men who are listening to this, that it's not just, about quitting, it's about loving yourself too, because that's a form of self-love, quitting. But when you're
yeah,
looking in the mirror and you hate what you see and you hate what you feel, do something about it, because the only person that's gonna fix that is you. Nobody's gonna hold your hand and save you. Nobody.
exactly. And that goes back to the victim mentality thing. I mean, it's like you said, have this skin issues, you're gaining weight and this and that, and you finally just said, you know what, I'm doing this shit to myself, that there's something I can do to change it. So I'm making those changes. And now you're seeing all the results. I mean,
Yeah.
look at me now. Look at you now.
Literally, but you too, though, like, meeting you in person too. It's just like we're in it. It's like tunnel vision. Like, it's not just the podcast, we're
Yeah.
in it. Like, you wouldn't have come to Florida to do a podcast and meet me if
No,
you weren't serious about this. So it's like being an addict, you don't think straight like that. You're not gonna wanna book a ticket to a different state and bring your equipment to go meet your co-host if you're not serious about something.
exactly. I'm passionate about this, and this podcast is in my way just a huge part of my own recovery. And if
Me
I
too.
want it to be helping others too, but it's like it's not. It doesn't feel like work. It just feels like, hey, it's therapy. You know, working on this, talking about these things, and recording like we are right now about things that difficult subjects that a lot of us were probably ashamed of, but now we're working on,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
self-pity and the victim mentality. Like those things are tough, and we beat ourselves up for years over that stuff, but now it's like we can handle it now. Life's going to happen, but we can handle it now.
Yep. There's nothing I cannot handle. I could tell you that. There is not a thing I cannot handle. I mean, I have so many more stories that fucking happened in my sobriety, and I handled it. I mean, I got pulled over by a cop for a car that they thought was stolen. It was my new car at gunpoint. And I
Jesus.
did say to myself, though, I swear to God, I said just like this in my head, I was handcuffed. Again, I was handcuffed, sober for the first time in my life, and that was weird. But I was handcuffed, and I said to myself, I swear to God, if they take me down to county, the first thing I'm doing is going to a corner store when I get bailed out. I said that to myself. And I
Yep.
didn't go to jail because I didn't steal a car. But I thought that. That was my and that was when I was about 9 months sober.
Yeah, you're that frustrated and seeing red, and you're just like, "This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna handle it like that." And then something in your brain told you not to, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, I
and
ain't
you
go to
didn't.
jail,
So,
but yeah, I did it sober. Yeah. Now I'm, handling with that situation the right way, legally. But yeah, being handcuffed sober, by the way, that was fucking weird. That's a whole other
yeah,
topic.
if I still have that habit sometimes of like all the laws I've broken, I should be doing like 5 life sentences. But even when I have a cop behind me now and I'm finally sober driving as opposed to a year and a half ago, I'd be drinking and driving, but I still get like my heart starts beating. I'm like, oh wait, I'm actually not breaking the law. This is cool. I kind of hope I get pulled over. Knock on wood.
I know
But
what's funny
still,
about that is I posted something about that last night on my Instagram. It's like when you're sober and you have nothing to worry about, and it's like I think it's like Matthew
yeah,
McConaughey. He's driving and it says "you dumb bitch," like with the police officer behind. So it's just like, yeah, pull me over, you dumb bitch. Like I didn't do anything wrong this time, but I do have PTSD
exactly.
from cops. I'm a, I'm pro cop, but I have
Yeah,
PTSD from I have PTSD from the lights.
yeah. No, I haven't, even when I've been arrested, I didn't have any bad experiences with them really, just besides this one officer arrested me 3 times in a row over the course of like 2 months. So I got sick of her, obviously, and she kept making stupid comments like, "Well, you know the thing about marijuana, it makes you stupid." I'm like, "Well, thank you for the advice, lady. It's going to be legal in a couple of years." And guess what? It was legal 2 years later. But other
Yeah.
than that, cops were always pretty cool. I was usually drunk when I was arrested, so I was usually just like joking around with them, accepting the fact that I'm going to jail. But I have heard of like a lot of people having PTSD from experiences with cops, and it's not fun. But
Well,
whether it's
mine
like they
was
they got
that.
violent with you or they assaulted you in some way.
I mean, mine goes back to childhood with my mom and dad, but also getting wrongfully almost arrested was pretty scary at gunpoint. I'm sober, so I remember the gun barrels at my face. That was pretty fucking scary. But got through that sober too, though. Didn't go drink.
Wow,
Yeah, this was before I knew
believe it.
you. This was before the podcast.
Well, you've been handling everything really well lately, and we both been through the ringer for different reasons lately. And regardless of what they are, everybody is going through their own sets of obstacles and issues
Yeah.
every day. And I think the longer we're in recovery, though, the longer we're practicing a lot of the principles. Doesn't have to be AA related or anything, but just practicing what we preach and what we learn. I think we're able to deal with stuff. So there's a lot less self pity, a lot less poor me, a lot more. I'm gonna face this. Bring it, bitch. That kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like bring it on. Like, what's next? Come on. Like, let's do
Yep,
it.
I love that attitude. That's the attitude we need.
Yeah, because we're not going to stop.
Rock Bottom with Ryan. No bullshit, just recovery.
But no, like at least the longer we're sober, the more we actually want to fix it and take accountability.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Now, if I
Yeah.
fuck up on anything, whether it's work, whether even podcast stuff, anything, if I fuck up on anything, I'm the first to be like, I fucked up, sorry. Right now, like,
Rachel,
literally, I
you've
fucked
been
that was my
fucking up
mistake.
this podcast.
Yeah, I'm fucking up the podcast. It's all me. No, but literally,
Everybody
like,
keeps asking why you're not on.
well, here I am.
Recovery
No,
Jimmy did a shout out to you today on our show. You'll see it later. But he was like, why is Rachel not here, man? I'm like, geez, I'm still here. Don't you care about me, man? I was like, I guess
I'm
Rachel
here.
needs to be here.
Yeah, we will do something with him too, for sure. I really want to talk to him. He seems
Yeah.
so cool. But
Yeah, we talked for an hour and a half. He was an awesome
that's
guy.
awesome.
So, but
That's awesome.